welcome to, we're going to call this JT and Liz. Yeah?
I like
Cool.
that.
All right. Welcome to JT and Liz. We are two
Hey.
friends who met in South Korea teaching English. We both now live back in the U.S. Goodness gracious. But we talk about our lives abroad all the time, and we thought it would be kind of cool to talk about it with you. So this is our show. Yay. Cool, cool, cool. You ready to get started?
I am.
All right. Today's topic. I write everything down. Give me a second. What are the lies you told yourself about moving abroad? Do you want to start?
Yeah, I'll start. I think the first thing was language. And I even remember saying, like, oh, it'll be disrespectful if I move there and don't learn the language. If I'm somewhere and I don't even try to learn, like, the ways of the people when it comes to communication. And then I done did everything
Mm-hmm.
I done talked about before. So I'm just like, yeah. And I had two tries. Like I was there, then I left and I came back and still.
And we talking about
Um
Korea specifically, right?
yeah, Korea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oddly enough, I still know how to read Hangul. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
why. Don't know what I'm saying.
It's very
But
easy to learn. It's a very easy alphabet to get a grasp on. So I
yeah,
know what you
yeah.
mean.
So, I mean, that's about all I got.
Gotcha.
But I do wish I like maybe tried a little bit harder to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I just thought it would come naturally because I'm there. Because you immersed in the culture, so you just
Mm-hmm.
think like you're gonna pick it up, but that wasn't the case.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew. So for Korea specifically, believe it or not, I took Korean my senior year of college because I had actually planned to go to South Korea and teach English like when I graduated, and then I got cold feet and didn't go until years later. So I actually, um, like I said, studied, and I think that I planned on learning more when I got to Korea,
Mhm.
but when I would try to say something, Koreans didn't understand what I was saying. So it was like very, it took all the motivation out of it. And then I
Yeah.
didn't enjoy my time there. So I just gave up. I really,
Yeah.
really did. But I would say I had renewed my motivation to learn another language again when I went to Poland. And then I took classes multiple times. My head hurt every time. I was just like, this is not, this Slavic language is not computing. And they actually would take, like, if your first language was a Slavic language, so if you were from Ukraine or from Russia, or like, if it was similar enough to Polish, they would actually, one of the schools I went to, they would put you in another class. So all the Americans, or like if you were
Mhm.
from Spain or whatnot, you would go to another class because they knew that they had a leg up on learning the language, and
Right.
y'all were we were starting from nothing.
Right.
So that's what, yeah, same. But what, like you said, I also agree that so whenever I go somewhere, I would definitely try. I will, because I want to be respectful.
Right.
But as far as becoming fluent, I let
Yeah.
that ride.
Yeah.
I definitely let that ride.
I definitely do feel like you speak. Would you say rather that you speak more Korean and no, you understand more Polish and speak more Polish than you do Korean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I could have learned more,
Uh huh.
um, for sure. But that just came from survival, is it the word? But that just came from everyday,
Yeah.
daily life needing to know certain things. But I
Yeah.
remember I took the very first Polish class that I took. Um, I I don't know how I ended up in that class. I think I signed up late, so they put me in something, and
Uh
it was a
huh.
business class, so I knew how to say pin and stuff like that before I knew how to ask, for the restroom.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, 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 yeah. But I also spent way more time in Poland than I did Korea. So,
I do feel like you like mingled a lot more
mhm,
in Poland, had more of a
mhm,
social life in Poland.
yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And we,
Yeah.
yeah, and we'll probably talk about all of that. But um, I know in the last video, I don't know what series or yeah, sequence these videos will come out in. But the last time you and I recorded, we
Uh-huh.
talked about just how the mindset was different.
Yeah.
Me being in South Korea versus my personal mindset being in South Korea versus Poland, and
Yeah.
that brings me to another lie I told myself, because when I went to South Korea, I was so eager to get out of the US and just like start
Mhm.
this new chapter
Yeah.
that, I took a job that I knew didn't it's not what I really wanted. And
Mhm.
even like our living situation, because you guys, Elizabeth and I actually met at the school in South Korea.
Mhm.
um I knew that didn't fit my lifestyle. So I took the
Uh-huh.
job teaching children. I took the job that had me living in a dorm with other teachers, and that doesn't even fit me. And in
Right.
Poland, I was teaching adults. I had my own apartment, so it was just a better
Mhm.
setup and better quality of life for me. So that's probably the first lie I told myself, is that I could do that job.
So you could teach. I could teach kids. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I could do it. That's fine. Yeah, you're gonna pay for me to come over there? Cool. How about you? What else you got?
Um. Okay. So I before I left, I had did like a little bit of research, and it must have been Reddit or something. And this guy, I actually still have it on my computer and on my phone to this day, and I still feel like it resonates. And I think it affected the way I moved a little bit when it came to relationships, and
Mm.
it made me a tiny bit more cautious. But the advice the person on Reddit had gave was like, like keep your head low, like only worry about like what's within the four walls of your classroom, and don't try to get too close with your Korean coworkers, because that could kind of turn for the worst or whatever.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
What page
um
were you on Reddit?
I, if you want me to read it, I could read it because it's right in my notepad. I don't know if that's
Oh gosh. Yeah, if y'all want to hear this Reddit story, put it in the comments, and we'll get that. We'll get a little Reddit story time from Elizabeth. That's crazy. And so you were looking for just like how to behave, like.
right, how to move, how to navigate,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, again, that affected like the way that I was like moving. And so I think because of that, I wasn't as close with my Korean coworkers as I could have been.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time I did get close, it like my contract ended, and it was like, okay, time for me to go to another like location, which is how I ended up in Daegu. Like my contract
Mm-hmm.
ended.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Um,
because your first role was more traditional. You had like the teacher. What's it called? The teacher assistant. The
Co-teacher.
co-teacher. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know you had a different setup at your first school than the second school you taught at.
Yeah, I was struggling for a long time because I had this in my head, like, I'm sorry, I worked at two schools.
Mm-hmm.
And one school we called the bad school, and the other school we called the good school. But I didn't know they
Ooh.
were the good school until like after the fact. But I could have known a lot sooner had I not held on so tightly to this advice that I shouldn't be close to Korean co-teachers, because like that could just work out bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was in a situation, I was without a cell phone for like something like over a month, like a long
Mm-hmm.
time over there. And my co-teacher at the good school, she was like, "I am your big sister. Like, I will fix this." And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, "Oh." And I was like, "Huh." Like, all right.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I learned like, all right, like that's probably something I shouldn't have held on to too tightly,
Mm-hmm.
or too closely, because like everyone's different. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And everyone doesn't have the same experience with foreigners that would like affect like how they treat everybody else.
Gotcha.
Like sad to say, like sometimes you might meet not just a Korean person, but anybody when you travel abroad, and they might have like stereotypes or just whatever feelings towards you because of other people that look like you, or other
Mm-hmm.
people that come from where you're from. But there wasn't any of that there. And I
Mm-hmm.
found out like after, but I could have
Gotcha.
found out sooner.
Yeah. So you took a
Yeah,
preconceived notion with you based
I
on something
did.
you read, which is, I guess, like, because you want to prepare. It's like a balance. You
Yeah.
want to prepare, but at the same time,
Yeah.
you also have to be open to your own experience. And I don't know what that balance looks like because
Yeah.
clearly we're talking about our experiences in the event
Yeah.
that they could, resonate with other people, and also open in the comments for y'all to share your experiences as well, because it is good to talk about, but also like be mindful that that's
Yeah.
that particular, and you don't know, some people might be saying, I had this messed up experience, I had no friends. Maybe your personality is shit and that's why you ain't had
Yeah.
no friends.
Right.
You could be and that, because I know I could be antisocial, and that could be that is a very huge reason why I didn't have as many friends in South Korea.
Mm-hmm.
It was self-inflicted,
Uh-huh.
versus
Uh-huh.
why I didn't have, compared to Poland, for example.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you could handle things completely differently. So, yeah, I'm glad that you had that. You know, I mean, it sucks that you had that preconceived notion, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Interesting. I never knew that. I never
Yeah.
knew that you read something on Reddit and took it
Yeah.
with you
Yeah.
and
I
used
mean,
it
the
as.
rest of the advice was spot on. It was just this one part.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
Oh,
okay.
okay, gotcha, gotcha.
So,
Yeah, I gotta hear this. I do, I do. All right. Oh, this is small,
uh-huh.
but it is something that happened.
Okay.
One of the lies I told myself is that I would drive.
Really?
Yeah, I actually,
Hmm.
I actually got an international driver's license from
I didn't
AAA.
know that.
Yeah, and I think it lasts for like 6 months or something like that. I actually got it the second time. I actually got it on like a vacation. This sounds crazy, but I actually got it when I came back to the U.S. But I wasn't done living in Poland. I was just home visiting or whatnot. So while
Yeah.
I was home visiting, I got the international driver's license from AAA
Uh-huh.
in Augusta. I drove over to Augusta, Georgia to
I
get
was
it.
not even thinking about that. Why did that cross your
Yeah,
mind?
I don't know why I thought. Why did I think about getting it? Oh, I think because I was in a relationship at the time and I knew I'd have somebody with me,
Uh-huh.
to try, like I wouldn't be traveling by myself.
Wait.
And then
Wait. In Korea? Wait.
no, in Poland.
Oh, okay,
You know
okay,
I
okay.
had no relationship in Korea. Stop.
Also, I'm like, wait, did I?
Wait, who? Why? How?
Got it.
But but no, in Poland, I guess I just thought about, like, cuz my boyfriend at the time would talk about, like, oh, maybe we could travel here, travel there. And I know I'm
Hmm.
a control freak, so I would want to drive.
Yeah.
So I got the international driver's license. And then it's kind of like, just because you have, and it's, the rules are weird. Just because you have your license here, if you're
Yeah.
a U.S. resident, 18 years of age, and you have your valid driver's license,
Hmm.
they'll give you an international driver's license that's supposed to work in like 150 countries. But that doesn't
Wow.
mean you know how to drive over there. So the
Right.
fact that I just thought that I'd take this and, oh, now I can rent a car and I'll drive. No, you don't know how traffic works here. You
Yeah.
don't know, and if you got into a situation or end up, and God forbid GPS stopped working for whatever reason, you don't know how
Yes.
to, you know, maneuver or
Right.
communicate.
Oh
So that
my
thing sat
goodness.
in my bag. So yeah, that was a big lie I told myself. And
Oh my.
yeah. So
Now I'm curious about you and dating. So I didn't really do much dating, like in South. Well, not with Korean men anyway.
cuz you ended up
um,
with a whole husband. So let's.
I did, but that came after. That came like my last year, my last 6 months or so.
Mhm.
Um, but I did like I didn't want to get into any relationships with Korean men because I didn't want to be like I thought I would be like a bucket list goal.
Mm.
And so I didn't want to be that. And like I was just like hyper aware of like the images and the preconceived notions that people have of other people outside of the states have of black women and just, black people in general when it comes to
Mhm.
sexuality. And I didn't want to be that for somebody. And so I was just very like diligent in
Mm.
staying away and not getting involved. For you, prior to going to Korea, were you like, yeah, I'm gonna be open to trying stuff, or like,
Um.
what did you tell yourself in regards to dating?
So for Korea specifically, I think I was just open. I think I was just,
Yeah.
but I also was like a different age. So even the way I approached dating then
Uh huh.
and the way I approach dating now are
Uh huh.
completely different. So
Mm.
before, thirsty, with not really understanding what I wanted either. So just
Yeah.
dating in my 20s, you know what I mean?
Which is
Um,
essentially what you're supposed to be doing, like dating to figure out what you like.
yeah, but I don't think I was doing it in the healthiest way. I didn't do it with any guidance. You know this.
Okay.
We've had a lot of conversations. I was just at you. Um, and then yeah, so approaching in, and then I went to such a different, culturally different place. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I
Yeah.
didn't really, I didn't take that into consideration at all.
Mhm.
So you don't really think about what the different, beauty standards and all that
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
is here. You might be like, oh, I'm fine over here, but over there ain't shit. I'm just talking, but it really, but it's really also like, I mean, but it's also like your personality, and is someone genuinely wanting to get to know you, which I
Yeah.
think is also, you know, one thing that I learned is that's where dating is very much the same wherever you go.
Yeah.
It is a different flavor of shit. And not it's it's just a slightly different flavor, but it's all the same.
Yeah.
It can be very good experiences, it could be very bad
Yeah.
experiences. It is just yeah, just work on yourself and the
Uh-huh.
person you want to be, and then hopefully you'll attract that like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then hopefully they are genuinely wanting to get to. I haven't found that
Mhm.
mutual want to get to know. Sometimes I meet people and it's just
Yeah.
like, okay, you like me, but it's not
Yeah.
reciprocated, and maybe I like them and it's not reciprocated, and it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
We healthily move on.
Right.
And that is me in my 30s. 20s, it was just like, but I don't understand. Now it is, okay, cool. I can keep it moving. You keep it moving.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. But yeah, I personally, that was my personal thing. I had to grow to. But yeah, I think that thinking that you're gonna go somewhere and, oh, well, I'm gonna leave this country and over there I'll find somebody. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? If you're
Uh-huh.
not doing the work on yourself,
Right.
you might find something,
It
but
ain't
it
gonna be
might
it.
not be the healthiest thing for you. Or maybe you'll find somebody just as toxic as you. Lord
Yeah.
have mercy.
Right.
So yeah, lies. I think, yeah, lies that I told myself would be that dating would be different,
Uh-huh.
and that all, or not even dating, but your life will be different if you don't do the work. If
Yeah.
you are, if you don't go out and know how to make friends here, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Then you're
Yeah.
not gonna go out and make friends there. Don't, if you don't do the work on yourself, you're gonna bring the same problems from point A to point B. So
Right. Just
yeah,
gonna have an
yeah.
international version of what you had back home.
Yeah, you're just a slightly different flavor of
Right.
mess.
It's gonna seem exciting because you don't understand what they saying, but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and I mean your life. You know what I
yeah.
mean? How you
Yeah.
operate your life. So if you
Yeah.
don't have any changes in that, just you picking up going from one country to the next isn't gonna
It's
change
not gonna solve
anything. Yeah,
anything.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
And if you we could talk about even family stuff or whatever problems you might have here, they still
Yeah.
gonna be here if you plan on
Yeah.
coming back. So
Yes.
you got to work through and address some things. So
Yeah.
yeah, don't lie to yourself, man. Well, thank y'all so much for watching. We will see y'all on the next one. And remember, if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, put them in the comments below. And we appreciate y'all. Elizabeth, you want to do the little your
Ah.
favorite thing?